I am 34 and I'm monolingual. Grew up not speaking another language, obviously, but I'm really sick and tired of it. For the longest time, I have been wanting to learn another language. I've tried and failed. And so I've decided that I'm not going to take failure anymore. I am now more than a month into learning Hungarian, and I have more language learning goals that I want to talk about. So I am trying to get my Hungarian citizenship by descent, and I have to learn Hungarian for that. And so my plan is to spend the next 12 months learning Hungarian. Where I went wrong before is memorization, so I'm not doing any of that. I'm just immersing myself as much as possible. And my goal is learn Hungarian for 12 months. So first 6 months, immerse myself. After that, I will hire a tutor to work with 2 times a week for the last 6 months to hopefully get to a conversational level. And then I also want to learn German. I would really like to be able to travel around Europe, and I feel like it makes sense to learn languages that can help me with that. So German, if I speak German, that will help me get around Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. 3 different countries. Like, how freaking amazing would that be? That means I can travel to these areas. I don't have to stay in the touristy areas, right? Because I can travel to other places. I also want to learn French. That will only, I think, really help me in France, but I'm open to traveling to Canada, so that could help there. I want to learn Spanish because I kind of figure why not at this point. I've taken like 5 years of Spanish. It is horrible. 1 in 6th grade, because I was living in Minnesota. We moved to Maryland. They don't start teaching Spanish until 9th grade. And then I took more Spanish classes in college, and still nothing really stuck. The only thing I can say is, hola, ¿cómo estás? And someone asked me, bien, ¿y tú? Buenos noches, buenos días. What's good morning? I don't know. Años is age. But I wouldn't be able to have a conversation. I could have a very, very short conversation that goes absolutely nowhere. That's all I've gotten out of over 5 years of spending time learning Spanish. I've even taken multiple classes in college of the same course because, a refresher before I take the next level. And I feel like it gets me nowhere. So yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. So Spanish, because it would help me. It would actually help me here in Texas. Someone came to fix something and knocked on my door here because I'm in an apartment. And he's like, habla español? And I'm like, no. I was like, no. Out of all the places I could live when I don't speak Spanish, it would help. Although I don't go a lot of places here where I would need to speak Spanish, but whatever. So Spanish would help in Spain. It could help here in Texas, and then in Mexico if I wanted to go to Mexico, right? I think as U.S. citizens, I don't know how long we can stay there. It's like 6 months to 12 months, something like that, but it would be very useful. And then I also want to learn, not in this particular order, by the way, Dutch, because that would help in the Netherlands and Belgium. Let me see where else it would help. Took some notes. Oh, just there. I thought maybe Luxembourg. I don't know what language they speak in Luxembourg. But then Italian would help in Italy and Switzerland. I just see a lot of people, especially Americans, going overseas to Europe and going to the very touristy areas. And there's just, I don't know. I haven't looked at the statistics, but let's say Paris, France, for instance. There's quite a bit of crime over there. I don't want to deal with that. I would rather travel somewhere where I can actually speak the language and get around. Though there's a lot of tourist traps there too, right? If you go out to eat, they'll usually charge you a lot more money than if you go somewhere that natives go, right? Because they want your money. And so I would just like to be able to get around enough. If I'm speaking a B2 level, so my goal is a B2 level for every single language. And then I would really like to get to a C2 or even a native level for Hungarian. I think that would be really nice. It's going to take more than a year to get to that, but once I get my Hungarian citizenship, if I can move to Hungary, right, it would be a lot easier, especially if I live there for 1 or 2 years, to progress my Hungarian speaking skills and actually speaking to natives. But yeah, I mean, being able to travel somewhere and not being limited to touristy areas would just be so nice, to be honest. And you see all these Instagram pictures where people are at these very famous places, and then you see the videos of how people get there, long lines, hour-long lines just for a picture. How about I go travel somewhere that I actually want to go travel to that's not very touristy, so I can actually enjoy the culture, not just some, like, I guess, fake culture. Because if someone comes here to the US, what are they going to do? Go to McDonald's and get, like, a burger? I don't know. That's horrible. I don't know. I feel like we don't really have, like, a type of culture here. It's like fatty foods, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what people do when they come from other countries to the U.S. Oh, you know what? If you're in Minnesota, you go to Mall of America. I don't think there's very long lines there. I guess if you go on the rides, then there are long lines. But if you're going to go shopping, I don't think there's long lines, unless you get food. That could be another thing, I guess. And so I think starting with Hungarian will really tell me how far I can really get, especially since I'm starting with the hardest language first. I want to see, can I really get to a B2 level in 12 months? Because also, I was originally going to spend a year and a half on each language. That would take close to like 10 years. I don't want to spend 10 years. I feel like I've already wasted so much time. I honestly wish that I grew up speaking another language, because then I would have so much more time to do other things as an adult. But so I think I'm going to do, so 12 months with Hungarian. I think I'm doing like 8 to 12 months for German. And then as the time goes on with learning more languages, I think I'm spending less time, because once you know one language, I hear it's a lot easier to learn another language, especially like the Romance languages, right? So Italian, French, Spanish. I think maybe all 3 of those would kind of go together, and there should be a lot of overlap with those where I don't have to spend like that much time, a full length of a full year and a half, right? Also, I want to mention, I want to get to a B2 level because I don't need to be at a C2 level. I just want to be able to have a basic conversation, really just be able to understand people enough to have a conversation. I don't need to be a native speaking level. That would be great. That would be awesome. But I don't want to put the time and effort into that because I don't need that. Now, if I was like, oh, I really want to go live in Germany the rest of my life, fine. I will spend more time learning German, right? But that's not really where I want to be. I also think it would be nice to spend, let's say a month. Let's say I'm like 1 to 3 months just staying in Germany just because I want to do more traveling there, or 1 to 3 months in Switzerland, or just picking a place. Being able to speak at least a B2 level in that language would just be so convenient. I also just, it just really sucks being monolingual. I think it's interesting too. My mother is from Ghana. She grew up in Ghana. She came to the US for college, and then she ended up getting her citizenship. And she didn't teach my sibling and I her language, although I understand why. If you are in a household where only one parent speaks the language, it can be very hard to teach your children that language. It's much different if you have 2 parents that speak the same language, although I have heard of people, both of their parents speak the language and they don't teach the kids. So there is that as well. Like my father's father, so my grandfather, he grew up speaking Hungarian, but his wife, my grandmother, didn't speak Hungarian. Her family is from the UK. They've been in the US for hundreds of years. I've gone through the ancestry. They've been here for a very long time, and I don't even think they speak another language in the UK, do they? I don't think so. I think it's just English is the main language. Although now that there's a lot of immigration going on, I'm sure there's other languages that are more useful, more used over there besides English. So yeah, I wouldn't even qualify for citizenship. I just sent over there. It's been way too long. But yeah, so my grandfather didn't pass down Hungarian to my father because his wife didn't speak the language, which is understandable. But, you know, it's unfortunate. And then we don't even have any family members who speak Hungarian still alive, like that we know of, which is unfortunate. I would have thought that I would have found someone via Ancestry when I was looking through to find someone who speaks Hungarian, and I'm just not finding anything. Although it could just be that people who live in Hungary don't typically have the money to or the motivation to do an ancestry test to see who else is out there who is their family. So I don't know. I might have to like hire a genealogist to go and figure that out. Or maybe once I speak Hungarian very well and I understand, then it will be easier for me to go through those records. Because if I tried that now, that would not work.